Hello and welcome to this Folio Society unboxing video. Here are the books I got from the summer sale, and I got all of these books for half price. And this video won't be as much as an unboxing video as it will be me just taking out the books from the box because I have already opened them and check them out, but I will share all of the books I got with you, and I'm also gonna talk a bit about the reason I got them and stuff like that. So I'm gonna move over to my usual spot, and here we have the first book, Interpreting Dreams by Sigmund Freud, and I really apologize about the lighting. It's very cloudy outside, and some of you might know that I depend a lot on sunlight to get lighting for my videos, but this will have to do. But yeah, this is a very nice cloth bound with a paper inset label edition. And some of you might know that I am interested in specifically lucid dreaming. I've been so for almost 5 years, and I find dreams to be very interesting. So I decided to get this edition. I've heard and read a lot about Sigmund Freud, but I have never read anything that he wrote himself, and I am aware of the usual claims that he is outdated, but I will take this more of a fun read. I never really analyze my own dreams, even if I do record and write my dreams down, but that's more for dream recall than it is for analyzing. But it has nice blue end papers and water painted illustrations. And next up we have the Bhagavad Gita, the religious Hindu text, and this lovely edition is quarter bound in a blue duotone cloth with paper sides. Gorgeous end papers, and this book has abwove rough paper, so extremely thick paper. And from my interest with lucid dreaming sparked my interest of meditation, which led to me studying and reading a lot about Buddhism, and that led me to reading a bit about Hinduism, and that's pretty much why I got this book. And I've wanted to read the Bhagavad Gita for a while, so I'm happy that they decided to put this book on the sale. And next up we have the philosopher Plato with Symposium, also quarter bound in a duotone cloth with paper boards. Also an impressive edition. And as for me buying this edition, I of course want to read the works of Plato in the future. That's pretty much it. And I will soon begin reading works from ancient Rome and ancient Greek. So this book will be quite suitable for that. And next up is the Analects by Confucius, or Kung Su, and I really like traditional Chinese art, and this edition is absolutely perfect for that, with its cloth binding and the Confucius here in a red foil. But I told you about my interest in Buddhism, which also not only led me to an interest in Hinduism, but also in Taoism and Confucianism. So I was very happy to see this edition of the Analects on the sale. I'm especially a big fan of these landscape paintings. So I believe that these paintings are a bit earlier than my favorite Chinese artist Tang Jin. And here we have the huge edition of the Tale of Genji by Murasaki Shikibu, quarter bound in art silk, with a red cloth and a gilded top. And this edition is absolutely filled with illustrations, even if it's a bit comparable to War and Peace, but this has a lot more illustrations actually. Not only full-scale illustrations, but also black and white, smaller illustrations. And I'm very glad I got these editions for half the price. And some consider this to be the first ever written novel, and this was, I think this was written in the 12th or 11th century. But before I continue with my last book, I want to check out the free mystery book I got. And I got Big Chief Elizabeth by Giles Milton, another book I probably never would have bought otherwise. Oh, that's some nice end papers. I really like maps. How England's adventurers gambled and won the new world. I will of course read this book, at least. Might find it more interesting than I would have thought. And at last we have Alexander Pushkin's Eugene Onegin, and this book is bound in cloth, illustrated, and with a design by the Balbuso twins, very popular. And while I want to read Pushkin, these illustrations were one of the reasons I got this edition. But I would love to read a lot of Russian authors. I read 2 books from Lev Tolstoy, 2 from Dostoevsky, but I would like to read works from Alexander Pushkin, Nikolai Gogol, Anton Chekhov and Ivan Turgenev. But Chekhov and Pushkin are definitely priority after Dostoevsky and Lev Tolstoy. I've yet to read the brothers Karamazov and Anna Karenina, War and Peace, and books like that. But this is a nice edition, but this material they have used for the design will probably get a lot of marks from taking it out from the dust cover, because it looked like this when I first took it out from the dust cover, with some marks on the design. And then I got another edition yesterday that I want to show right now. It's Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, and this is an illustrated edition with a lot of traditional Chinese paintings, and I think this edition is quite outstanding. I really liked it, but it's translated, but I would say interpreted by Stephen Mitchell, which some people are not a fan of, since from what I can understand he doesn't read ancient Chinese, so he didn't translate it from the original language, but instead interpreted it from several translations instead. But it's very beautiful nonetheless, with illustrations or paintings on every page. But I've read Tao Te Ching once, but I think you have to read several translations to get the most out of it. And the first translation I read was from, I think his name was James Legg, so it will still be interesting to read this interpretation. So here we have them, the books from my, I think, biggest haul yet. And if you just decided to skip all of my talk about the books and just wanted to see this part where I show all of the books together, then I understand, because I wanted to get a bit more meat in the video than just me showing the books I got, because I do find it a bit boring just showing book after book without talking about them. And if you want to see a video of me talking about my history with books, where I talk about why I'm reading what I'm reading and how my book collecting started, then I would love to do so in the future. But here are the books: the Bhagavad Gita, Plato Symposium, the Analects, The Big Chief Elizabeth, Interpreting Dreams by Freud, The Tale of Genji, and Eugene Onegin by Alexander Pushkin, and Tao Te Ching. But I will of course make individual videos with all of these books. Just write a comment if you want to see any of these books soon, because otherwise I will probably wait a while before I make videos about them. But yeah, that was my Folio Society book haul, summer sale book haul, with 7 new Folio Society books and 1 extra book. But if you have any questions about any of the editions, make sure to leave a comment and I will answer it as quickly as I can. And please check out my Patreon page if you want to. The link is in the description, or it's showing right here. Beep. But other than that, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.